Reaching a big milestone in another big year. Time just keeps on marching on, that is crystal clear. 23 full years of questing, no banks or deaths, I've got my tricks. RuneScape 3 Hardcore Ultimate Ironman, questing through 2006. Welcome back to July 24th, 2006. Still training construction, getting lots of XP here. Spending all the money. Making oak stuff. There it is. 61. Construction. Few things here. Gilded mahogany dining benches. In case you really want to be fancy. Spend a whole bunch of money on chairs. These go in the dining room here. And also the throne room. Which now also gets throne room floor decoration. Right in the middle. There's going to be more things down there later. We don't have a throne room because we don't want to spend money having a room we don't need. Also, the house organization. It's in a reasonable place right now. Also important, oak incense burners. Previously, in the lamp space in the chapel, we could only put little candle sticks, which didn't do much for us. But now, incense burners. Use a Marintil, bring a tinderbox, and you get even more bonus prayer XP. So combine that with a better altar, we can get some good stuff going here. Ultimately, we might end up making the better altars. It gets a little bit expensive at the end, but could be worthwhile. Maybe when we want to train prayer some more. Currently 70 is a pretty good spot to be at. But yeah, we got more money here. Gonna do more construction. And at some point we need to do some decorating. We got some missing spaces all around. It would be good to have some things. But we're still training. So we get more options and all that. 62 construction. Not too much going on currently at this level, but it is 2 quest requirements. You get the workbench with Vice, which is just a little bit better workbench. Later, the teak fancy dress box. We also have 26 rooms. We are nowhere near that many rooms, and don't really need that many either. Want to make a super fancy house, we could. Don't need to, though. 63 construction. Well, that is a marble fireplace if you want to literally burn money. A teak cape rack once the costume room exists. But we do get the teak wardrobe. That's for the bedroom. Astronomical wall chart. Stone walls for the formal garden. And also later, a new room, the aquarium. Get the oyster hunter diving suit. And the driftwood prawn broker. Aquarium is also pretty cool. Well, that's going to be a while still. 64 construction. That is a quest requirement. Very fancy. Mahogany dressers for the bedroom. Teak armor case. Not yet. Teak telescope. Our telescope spot currently faces into a wall. That's probably fine. Small box hedges for the formal garden. Getting more fancy options there. Limestone altar. And later, a fishing net decoration. Lots of variety. There really is a lot of stuff in construction. And there is 65 construction. Gotta immediately get out of here before we look at what we got here. Because I got some stuff on the floor. In the last few inventories here, I got a few seeds. They're not particularly good, but apple and acorn. Get a little bit of farming XP, I guess. That's alright. 65 construction here. Lots of new stuff. We got the oubliette, a new room. You put it underneath your throne room so you can drop people into it. Onto some spikes in a cage. Also make new fancy rugs, larger landscape paintings, a gazebo in the fancy garden. Mahogany incense burners. The higher level of incense burners don't actually give any bonuses, so that's fine. Greater teleport focus for the portal rooms, which does the same thing, just looks fancier. Same thing with the mahogany portal frames. And we would need to get rid of the current teleports and put them back in to replace these, so probably not going to do that. Could mount a swordfish if we get more big fish. Although we're probably not going to be fishing swordfish, so that's whatever. And later on, guardhouse tier 2, rangers workroom tier 2. I'm going to be making a lot of buildings. Much, much later. Right now, though, I've got 2 seeds to go plant. And then worry about updates. Planting the acorn, aka oak tree, here in Lumbridge. Didn't have anything here before, so just gonna start growing here. Using super compost, try to make it survive. Would be great. Would be great. And for the fruit tree, we're replacing one apple tree with another one here at the gnome stronghold. 1,200 XP, plus a handful for picking the actual apples. The lower level trees don't give a huge amount of XP, but honestly I'll take what farming XP I can get here. It's definitely a more awkward thing to train than some other ones. Chop down the tree, clear the stump. You can also just keep the fruit trees around. They will keep growing more fruit. But we don't really need cooking apples in particular, so this is fine. A little bit of farming. That's alright. Put our farming stuff away. Do need to get more super compost eventually. Well, that's alright. Don't need all these. Lots of stuff. Anyways. Also getting a few other things here, which are going to be important later, but not just yet. Because we've got other things to deal with before we get to that. Updates. And all that. Starting on July 31st, 2006, a new ranged weapon, the crossbow. Technically, there already were crossbows and phoenix crossbows, but they were not very good. Now we got a whole selection of crossbows, from bronze to rune, and the accompanying bolts, which get increasingly complicated, requiring fletching for making the stock, smithing for making the limbs, a bit of crafting for the more complicated bolts. It's an interesting update. Crossbows are slower but stronger than regular bows. But with the whole evolution of combat, it doesn't really make a huge difference here. And like with almost all ranged weaponry, the ammo is the problem. But we will start getting some info from the crossbow stall guys here. There's crossbow stores in the Dwarven Mine, here in Keldgrim, and also under White Wolf Mountain. They've got cool stuff. Hello there. Hello. What's in those boxes? Ooh, boxes. All kinds of boxes. Aha! Interested in my crossbows, are you? Are they any good? They're dwarven engineering at its best. If you got enough skill in crafting, smithing, and fletching, you can even make them yourself. You can buy some of the parts here and make the rest yourself. How do I make one for myself? Well, firstly, you'll need to chop yourself some wood, then use a knife on the wood to whittle out a nice crossbow stock, like these here. Wood fletch into stock, check. Then get yourself some metal and hammer and smith yourself some limbs for the bow. Mind that you use the right metals and woods, though, as some wood is too light to use with some metal, and vice versa. Which goes with which? Wood and bronze, as their basic materials, oak and blurite, willow and iron, steel and teak, mithril and maple, adam and mahogany, and finally, rune and yew. Okay, so I have my stock and a pair of limbs, what now? Simply take a hammer and smack the limbs firmly onto the stock. You'll then need a string. Well, they're not the same as normal bows. You need to dry some large animal's meat to get sinew, then spin it on a spinning wheel. It's the only thing we've found to make strong enough for a crossbow. What about magic logs? Well, I don't rightly know. Us dwarves don't work with magic. We prefer gold and rock. Much more stable. Guess you could ask the humans at the Rangers Guild to see if they can do something, but I don't want anything to do with it. Thanks for telling me. Bye. Take care. Straight shooting. Another new bit of the puzzle. Sinew. Get some raw beef, cook it a few times, get sinew turned to a crossbow string, and with that you can finish your crossbow. Is that any other dialogues here? Any good? What about the ammo? That's an important step. You can smith yourself lots of different bolts. Don't forget to flight them with feathers like you do arrows, though. There's also other options of tipping any untipped bolt with gems, then enchanting with runes. This can have some pretty powerful effects. Oh, my poor bank, how will I store all those? What bank? Don't you worry. I have just the thing here. A bolt pouch designed specifically to hold 4 different types of crossbow bolts. Wow, how much? Well, let's see now. For you, 1,500 gold pieces should do the trick. No thanks. No thanks. Thanks for telling me bye. Yeah, the bolt pouch. Definitely a thing. You can have 4 different types of bolts in it, but only 255 of each type of bolt because data constraints limiting. So you can't hold very many bolts, and it's only useful when you want to be switching the bolts around, which is not too often. Bolt pouch, not particularly good. It is available though. If we had multiple kinds of bolts, we could save space, kinda. Not really. The bolts in question, again, from bronze to rune. Like we was saying there, tipped and enchanted. All kinds of stuff you can do with that. From opal all the way up to onyx. And each tip goes on a specific kind of bolt. So you need to make sure you got everything correct in order to make your fancy bolts. And then the enchants are in their whole separate spell here. Again, from opal to onyx. Takes various magic levels, various runes, and you enchant a bunch of them. So, in total, you would need, potentially, wood cutting to get logs, then fletch the logs into the stocks, mining to get ores, smithing, you smelt the ores into bars, use the bars on an anvil to get the limbs and also the bolts. You need to fletch the bolts, add the feathers, get some gems from somewhere, maybe even mine them from gem rocks, craft them into cut gems, craft them again into bolt tips, fletch the bolt tips onto the bolts, enchant the bolts with magic for very interesting effects, ranging from just a bit more damage to poisoning your enemies, a bit of a sacrifice effect where you take 10% of your health but the enemy takes 20% of their health. This has a limit on it, so you can't just do absurd damage. You really still can, though. Ruby bolts, very effective. Diamonds can ignore defense, and these are all a chance to happen. Dragonstone does a dragon breath attack, and Onyx does bonus damage with lifesteal. Very fancy. But also you're using Onyx bolt tips, which are very expensive. Eventually there's more sources for a lot of these, so you're not just cutting an Onyx. But still, it exists. Going to the actual store here, you can see the current Crossbow shop has a lot of things that weren't currently in here. Originally, only had some stocks, limbs, and empty spaces for a lot of things. You get up to a mahogany stock and a mithril limb. You could go and make yourself a mithril crossbow without having the first steps of that. We just need the level to put it all together. Rune crossbow, definitely the one you would want, but not available in the shop just yet. Or, well, just yet. All the shop stock updates. What a time. But honestly, even if we have these crossbows, there's definitely the problem with ammo. Since all the bolts are smithed, we would need the appropriate smithing level. And we're still in the pre-mining and smithing rework business, yeah. So, making stuff out of rune would be 85 plus. So yeah, not very viable. And we would lose the bolts. Honestly, at this point, if we want to train range, we need to go buy another crystal bow. That's like 1,000,000 coins, so not right now. Not right now. We got a range up to 80 previously, and that'll do perfectly fine for quite some time. Limitations. Boy, we got some. My goodness. Most interesting thing from Crossbows here, and especially effective since we can just get most of the things for a mithril crossbow here, are the grapples. Mithril crossbow, or maybe any crossbow, mithril would be fine though. Mithril bolts, and then attach a rope and a grapple tip, which I think we should probably let smith. And then you can grapple over various walls and such. Some of them more useful than others, and most of them I think are diary steps, so we're not going to do that and need to do it again later. You can climb over the northern wall in Falador, go between Catherby and Taverley over some rocks, go from the water obelisk island, cross over to Catherby shore, but not back, travel over the southern wall in Yanil, and take a double shortcut from Musa Point down to the southern section of Karamja. Very interesting spots. Not something we're going to really be using, since we're not going to really have a crossbow, because we can't really use the crossbow for the ammo problems, like we said, and having to lug around the grapples too. Very interesting though. There's more grapple stuff in the future, and then also less grapple stuff in the future. Updates, they happen. What a time. What a time. But for now, not really something we're too worried about. Especially since they maxed out at Rune, and that's not very good these days. Evolution of combat. All the time. Moving on into August 1st, 2006. Postbag from the Hedge, number 9. More cryptic hints from the Chaos Elemental, and a picture of the entire wall beast, which is absolutely wild. You only get to fight the hand that comes out of the wall. There's a whole monstrosity back there. Lore and implications. And also the behind the scenes for August. Gnome delivery minigame, a gnome quest, new prayers, new boats. Bunch of cool stuff. And since the last update was only on the 31st, the actual next update is not until August 7th, 2006. New minigame. Well, technically not a new minigame, just a massive increase to what you're actually doing here. The Gnome Restaurant. Previously, you could take tasks from Left Yane and Blurberry, make them some things, get paid a few coins. Nothing too complicated. Although the recipe system was a little bit complicated. But now, we've got an actual whole minigame here. Talking to Yami Jr. Hello, welcome to Left Aloft, the gnome food delivery service. We deliver gnome foods to customers all over Gillinor. Do you want a job? We're always looking for new staff. Yes, tell me more. First of all, you'll need some basic gnome cooking and cocktail making training. Go and talk to my father, Left Yanni Sr., and Blurberry, if you haven't already, and they'll tell you what you need to do. Once you've got recommendations from both of them, I'd be happy to take you on at Left Aloft. Once you're working for us, I'll give you a choice of either an easy or hard job. I'll then ask you to make a piece of gnomish cuisine, and tell you who ordered it, with some information about how to find him or her. Don't take too long, the order is only valid for a short period of time. If you complete the delivery successfully, you'll be given a tip by the customer and credit token towards your own free delivery token. Very cool. Like he said, we need to do the stuff first. Okay, am I ready to take a job? Or now? I'm afraid you don't have the required training for this job. If you want to work for me, you have to talk to my father, Left High Senior, for cooking training, and Blurberry the barman for cocktail making training. Once I get recommendations from both of them, you'll be ready to start work for me. Okay. So, if we want to actually do this, we need to go through a whole kind of sort of tutorial. Basically, make a few of the recipes here. All kinds of interesting stuff here. From cheese and tomato bits, chocolate chip crunchies, and then gnomish delicacies like toad and worm. And then the drinks, with all the different stuff they have too. But yeah, like I said, there's a few different parts to this. And very helpfully, since this is now actually a thing that you might want to do, the cooking process was slightly streamlined. So instead of having to go through the book and get each individual piece and use it correctly, you now get a whole menu that shows you exactly what you need and what options exist. And then you can just put it all together much more quickly. Also, you get more XP. And some of the things have higher cooking requirements to match with the new XP. Nothing super crazy, like tops out in the 40s, so definitely doable. And like he said, there are easy and hard deliveries. The easy ones just take place around the stronghold here, and you get a few GP for your efforts. But the far deliveries, all over the world, you get all sorts of interesting stuff. Unique items here include the mint cake, which is a large run restoration, the grand seed pods, which teleport you back to the tree, the gnome scarf and goggles, which are fun cosmetics, and the gnome scarf itself is a bit wildly expensive in RuneScape 3. Mostly because very, very few people do this. Because there's not too many reasons. Technically later there's also more things added. That's not for a while. You can also get herbs, gems, runes, some of those bolts for the new crossbows, and some random stuff. Lots of these depend on who you have to deliver to. Specific people will give you specific rewards. Like the scarf and goggles can only come from the gnome glider pilots. There's a whole system for not accepting the tasks and then switching for another one to try to get what you're looking for. Also comes with time penalties and stuff, so depends how you're feeling. And if you do a bunch of the deliveries, you get your own box where you can ask for deliveries to come to you. Brings you just a whole pile of gnome food, which can have its benefits. Overall, an interesting bit, making use of the stores here, which have been changed after the change to make it only personal stores to actually restock more effectively. Because it's kind of awkward if you would have gotten to the point where there was no more stock left to make any more things. Like restocks after you complete a delivery or something. Would be effective. We'll be doing this much, much later for the extra thing that's added to it later. I mean, maybe not, since we're already 90 cooking. Might just get to 99 before we need to worry about that. We will see. We will see. For right now, though, this exists. And it's definitely a minigame. Does it have the symbol? Doesn't look like it. It is a minigame, though. There you go. And sticking here in the gnomish area for the next update. On August 15th, 2006, we get the next quest. Get outside. Open it up. New quest. The Eyes of Glofrey. Requirements. The Grand Tree. 46 magic. And 5 construction. This is the first quest that requires construction. It's only 5 though, so not particularly extensive. Unlike some future skill updates, which are going to have very large requirements very quickly. We will get there much later. Required items. We need a mud rune, a maple log, an oak log, and a bucket of sap. We'll also need a hammer, saw, and pestle and mortar, which we can get. We already have a hammer and saw. So we just need a pestle and mortar, some logs, which we can just chop. A bucket of sap uses an empty bucket and a knife on an evergreen tree. And the mud rune we can make. Combination runes, this whole thing. Got a water talisman from the water wizard while waiting for my trees to grow a little bit so we can plant them. So we got this. Just need to go to the earth altar, bring some pure essence. Should be fine. We've made some combination runes before. Well, that's easy enough. We'll have a lower chance of making it since we're not using any of the bonus things like magic imbue or the necklace. We only need 1 mud rune, so it'll be fine. We'll make all that, get a knife and a bucket, slash to get some sap, and return here for the quest. All the teleports in the house continue to make getting around everywhere super convenient. Back in the Grand Tree here, just need to head over to the side a bit to go start the quest with Brimstale. Down in his cave here. Cave entrance. It's sort of cavey. It's also the sort of Brimstale's area. Down in here, got some interesting stuff over inside there. We don't worry about that once we talk to Brimstale. Hello, adventurer. What can I do you for? What's that? What's this creature? It's a cute creature wandering around. Aw, isn't it cute? Oh, is he? He's my pet. Look, what kind of creature is he? I'm not sure. He's very cute though, don't you think? It's very restful having a pet, especially when you are stuck in a cave for as long as I am. So what do you do down here anyway? Isn't that obvious? I investigate thaumaturgy. I research the arcane. I attempt to explain the inexplicable. You study magic then? What kind of magic? I do a bit of magic myself, you know. Are you a budding mage? I can tell you more about my research if you'd like. Yes, that sounds fascinating. Excellent. It's so rare I can find someone to discuss my researches. Most gnomes seem to find it all very tedious. Never. How could they think that? Though I suppose gnomes aren't known for their magic. Well, that's true. These days, apart from a few combat spells, most gnomes seem to be a bit suspicious of mages. Really? Why is that? Well, there is a bit of history there. Do you want me to tell you about it? Oh yes, I love a bit of history. Let's get some information. Very wise. A good knowledge of history of magic is crucial to understanding the arcane. Well, the most famous gnomish mage of all got into a bit of trouble. Most gnomes don't really talk about him, other than telling stories about him as if he was some sort of boogeyman. Ridiculous. He was a gnome like any other. He sounds like a fascinating character. He was one of King Hathorg's the Great's advisors during the Grand Migration, but he was exiled after the Goblin Wars. Why was that? Well, I'm not really sure. This was all before I was born, and no one talks about what happened to Glofrey these days. He must have done something very bad then. Well, maybe. I'm not so sure. As it happens, I've been looking into part of our history. All I've managed to establish was that he was particularly interested in optics and light magic. It's hard to see where he could misuse light in a way that would get him exiled. Well, indeed. I've also found out, though, he was generally disliked by other gnomes. His moniker was Glofry the Untrusted. Oknok the engineer and Glofry didn't like each other either. Oknok? I haven't heard of him before. Oknok was an engineer and architect. Very famous. There are statues of him around the place. His reputation among gnomes is second only to King Hathorg himself. But he built most of the stronghold, you know. Are you really interested in all this? Do you want to see something interesting? Ooh, something interesting. And now we get to accept the quest. I accept, of course. Well, have a careful look around at everything in the next cave, and come back when you tell me what you find. Things in the next cave. Whee! I love things. What I found is a suspicious plant here. A Spidistrip plant. Granda. We got an exchanger with a hand and colors and symbols. We can machine here. You look at the machine, it's an impressive piece of work, though it looks like it was made using some strange combination of materials. It seems to be two parts with apparently different functions, made from maple and oak wood with crystal all stuck together with strange glue. You have no idea how it works or what it does. It's definitely a thing. Weird combination of gnomish and elfin design. We've definitely seen some crystals with the elves. And we can see a bowl over here, a singing bowl. This is a beautiful and elegant looking crystal bowl. It's clearly of elvish origins and reminds you of a large crystal drinking glass. Every now and then, you're sure you can hear the bowl resonate with sounds echoing around the cave. You know, if a keening noise that makes you think for a moment that's calling home. We got a machine, we got a bowl, we also have a statue here. Broken statue of Glofry the Untrusted. Just keep broken statues down in the cave. Fair enough. Oh yeah, definitely stuff going on here with a machine. Back to Brimstone here. Hello, adventurer. What can I do for you? I had a look in the other room now. So, what did you find? There is a pit with a crystalline-looking bowl in the center. Indeed. Sadly, I know very little about that. It looks elven to me, though. There's also a large, strange-looking machine. That's right. It was built by Oknok. How do you know that? That room used to be Oknok's workshop. I'd also recognize his style anywhere. What does it do? I have no idea, but I do know someone who might. There's one gnome left alive who knew Oknok, and King Helthorn and Glofry for that matter. Who was that? Have a guess? Well, King Narno tells me you've already visited him. Oh, I know. You're talking about Hazelmere, aren't you? Very good. Young apprentice. Didn't he help create the Grand Tree? That's right. He was third advisor to the King Helthorg. He found and tended to the Grand Tree. If you are really interested in all this, then could you do me a favor and visit Hazelmere for me? I've been meaning to go for a while, but I have responsibilities here. There's always someone who wants to use the rune essence mines. Of course, I'd love to. Good. Wait a minute. Am I going to have to translate everything he says using that dictionary again? He's an old-fashioned kind of gnome and doesn't like visitors much. I'm sure he'll want to talk about the old days. But he only speaks ancient gnomish. That may be true, though he may just be faking it to deter visitors. Either way, he's a wise old gnome. If he really wants to talk to you, I'm sure he'll find a way. Well, alright, if you say so. What did you want me to ask him? Well, ask him if he knows anything about Oknok's machine, and anything you can find about Glofry would be very interesting, wouldn't you agree? Right then, I'd better be on my way. I'll be back soon. To Hazelmere. And boy do we have the way to get to Hazelmere. It's a great time. With the Dramon staff. And be able to teleport around. Let's go to Edgeville. The box on this glory here is not too large. It is just an amulet on a wall, after all. Let's go over to the fairy ring here. Potentially other options later. But for right now, this does the job done here. We just need to go to Hazelmere with the ferry ring. Now, all these different places. It's kind of an island. Also kind of just in Catering. We just have the information where it is. Islands, polypore, penguins, miscellanea, jungle spiders. Technically correct. There's a lot of jungle spiders here, but also Hazelmere. Make sure we don't use up all our runes accidentally fighting stuff. As far as level 86. Wild. Not aggressive though, that's alright. Climbing up the ladder. And Hazelmere. The mage starts to speak, but all you hear is blah 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 blah. Hello Hazelmere. Blah 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 human, Sarko. Brimstone sent me to ask you some questions. Ha! RS3 blah blah mess blah blah. I have some questions about the old days. Brimstone has been filling me in about gnomish history. Blah Brimstone, blah blah human blah Minahar. It sounds like a fascinating time. Also sounds like some important things happened then. Events that we shouldn't forget. Legendary black human blah blah blah. He's also found a machine. He says built by Oaknock? Oaknock? Ha, blah blah, Minapore blah blah blah. Blah 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 blah, Oaknock blah blah blah. Blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah, hello Zemo blah blah blah. I'm sorry, I don't understand a word you're saying. It messy human. You feel very strange, like something's going in your mind. And Hazelmere casts a spell of some sort. As if Hazelmere started poking around in your head, and everything seems a lot clearer. Not bad for a human. You can hear Hazelmere's voice in your head, but he's not moving his lips. Very strange. You understand what he's saying though, which is a bonus. Weird. How you doing this, Hazelmere? Old magic's beyond your skill, human. You can stop flapping your big human lips as well. Just think. So how do I do this? Wow, that's impressive. Russo was telling me that gnomes don't trust mages these days. Can you hear me? Glofrey, wasn't it? He did something bad and got exiled. Oh, I'm feeling a little dizzy. You knew him, didn't you? What can you tell me about him? What's this machine that Oaknock built? Isn't that magical as well? Do you know what it does? Stop withering on, Ironman Artic. You are giving me a headache. This mind speech is hard enough without having to listen to your incoherent babbling. Think about nothing. Clear your mind. Clear my mind. Hey, how'd you know my name? I'm reading your mind, foolish human. How do you think? Now clear your mind. How do I think about nothing? I'll give it a go. Tasty lobster. Yeah, I'm thinking about something. Stop thinking about lobsters. Pink lobsters, big lobsters. Lobsters with wings. Wings? Lobsters don't have wings. I can't do this. Just shut up and listen. I have a story to tell you that will answer most of your questions. Let's travel back in time, to the time you humans call the Fourth Age. King Helthorg had become king. The elves mysteriously decided to travel west, leaving most of Catering open for conquest. The humans weren't here, yet. Only King Helthorg and the gnomes to the north, and a collection of goblin tribes to the south. Banners of the goblins and the gnomes here clashed. Both armies moved to claim the lands, and were of course destined to meet in battle. A great battle. Cutscene. And so it came to pass, the goblin and gnome armies met at the battle of Atrasundi. Look at all these gnome guys. Quite the force. They got barricades, they got their banner, archers, warriors. Both sides faced each other on the battlefield. A bloody battle was in the prospect. Our gnomes were brave, but we were no match for the mass of brute goblin stupidity. Lots of goblins. Ready and raring to go here. And here are the main guys. But Glofrey and King Helthorg had devised a plan. If you don't lead an invincible army, pretend you do. And tortoises, many. And so Glafri created an army of illusory giant tortoises, knowing that goblins would be scared of anything bigger than they were. Big Boss didn't say nothing about them homies having monster tortoises. They be huges. Tortoises too scary and pointy. We runs away. Ah, run away. Flee. They're just getting out of here. Scary tortoises runs. Not gonna fight that many tortoises. They are very large. I'll give them that. Hey, was that you next to the tortoise? You look so handsome. Handsome? That was a long time ago. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes. Sadly, the golden times were not destined to last for long. There was once a very special spirit tree in the stronghold. Silver as birch, old and wise. I considered him a friend. I called him Argento. His true name was unpronounceable. He was the first spirit tree I had befriended, and the one I knew the best. I would sometimes travel, visiting and finding other spirit trees, and during one such trip, I was filled with a great sense of foreboding. Great sense of foreboding, not ideal. I felt a shadow pass over me, and a tingling in the air, even though the weather was fine and dry. Then I felt a sudden pain, as if the Anima Mundi was crying out with the loss of a favored child. Lightning strike. And I knew that one of the old ones had died, and I had lost a friend. Unfortunate. I rushed straight back to the grand tree, only to find out that no one had noticed anything, and that Argento was still standing and seemed alive. I knew something was wrong. He refused to talk to me, and his aura was no longer present. Someone had hidden his death. Talked to Oknok, and he was incensed. He immediately blamed Glafri, and although Oknok could be rather irrational when it came to Glafri, they never saw eye to eye. I knew he was right this time. Glafri had used his magics to hide the truth from all of us. Oknok had made a machine, an anti-illusion machine, with some help from the elves. He prepared it and summoned the advisors to Argento. Anti-illusions. Very good. Why have you summoned us here? You'll see, sir. Switch the machine on. And the tree is dead. What is the meaning of this? The silver spirit tree is dead. Glafri has been using his foul arts to mask the truth. What other secrets has he been hiding? Explain yourself. I live to serve you, sire. I work for the good of us all. How can lying to your fellow gnome be good? Some things are best kept secret. Even from your king? Occasionally. Enough. How can I trust a gnome who hides things from me? No gnome can blame you for what you do not know. This is not how I rule. Glafri, you are no longer my advisor. Leave this place. When the naive believe they can rule without someone like me, your empire will crack and gnomes will become but a joke. Sarko. So be it. I'll be watching. And so Glafri left. He was rumored to have eventually traveled with some companions to a place they called Arposandra. We've heard nothing but rumors about them since. Secrets. Conspiracies. Concerning. So where is this Arposandra place, anyway? Nobody knows for certain. Somewhere rocky, I suppose. The rumor is that after founding his new home, Glafri used his magics to shroud the city in mist. Arposandra may not exist at all. However, I suspect that Glafri is still around one way or another. Why do you think that? Just call it gnomish intuition. So this machine that Brimstale has found is the one that Oknok built to stop Glafri's illusions. Do you know how it worked? I never studied it, but I believe it used elven magic. So it must have used crystals of some sort. Crystal discs? Yes, that sounds familiar. Actually, come to think of it, I think I have one lying around. Here, take this. Maybe it'll help you. Well, thank you, Hazimir. You've told me a lot of things I need to ponder for a while. Very well. Oh, and when you see that lazy toad Brimstale, tell him next time he needs information to come himself. I'll do that. Farewell. Anti-illusion machine, crystal discs. the past. Let's head back to Brimstale. Brimstale? We got some good information. Hello, adventurer. What can I do for you? I've returned. Visited Hazelmere. He told me all sorts of interesting things. Ah, thank you, my young apprentice. What did he tell you? He told me quite a story. You may want to take notes. Excellent. I love a good story. Right, well, it starts during the Great Migration. Tell Brimstale everything Hazelmere told you. Brimstale takes lots of notes. Good to take notes. So the machine emits an anti-illusion glamour. Sneaky, sneaky, sneak. Glamour? What's that? Don't you know anything? Ah, a glamour is a type of enchantment or magical effect. Oh yes, it does have such a glamour. It seems to use crystal discs to work in some way. Show Brimstale the disc Hazelmere gave you. Sneaking. Oh, crystal discs. I may have a few of those in a drawer somewhere. Sneak and sneak. Wait, what's that? Something just moved behind you. And smasher, smasher. Looking at it. Really? Wait, what's that banging noise? It's crumbling the whole thing. Oh my. You show up. Sabotage. What happened to the machine? It's broken. Something's afoot. I sense sabotage. Sense sabotage? I see sabotage. It's right here. Or it just explodes sometimes. Who knows? Well, that's not good. That's not a good thing that has happened here. Brimstale. What do you think? What do you think? Hello, adventurer. What can I do for you? The machine is broken. I suspect sabotage. This is intolerable. How could this happen? I'm confused. Must have happened while we were talking here. We were just standing here. How could someone get past us? I did see something odd behind you. Wait a minute. How did the saboteur know about the machine? You're the only person I've told about the machine. Hey, don't look at me like that. The only person I've talked to is Hazelmere. Surely this couldn't be the work of Hazelmere. That turncoat. No, wait. None of this makes any sense. There must be another explanation. Alright. Someone snuck in here without us noticing. How? The intruder must have been invisible. Right. And how does one make oneself invisible, my boy? Oh, of course. I've seen this before. Karam in the 10th Squad used some sort of magic to make himself invisible. This is from Monka Madness. Do you think the 10th Squad did this? No, I think our saboteur must have learned the same magics. Is Gloffery still alive? Who knows? But he may well have taught his skills to his gnomes. You mean the gnomes that went with him to Arpasandra? Right. And why would they sabotage an anti-illusion device? Because there is an illusion. They want to remain hidden. Of course. Which makes it imperative that we fix this machine and find out what it is. Have a look at the machine and assess the damage. I'll hunt around my boxes and see if I can find anything that might help. Alright. Repair a machine. It is broken. Repair it. Look at the damage done. There are 2 main wooden parts that need to be repaired. Looks like you'll need 2 types of wood, maple and oak, to complete the repairs. Also looks as if everything was stuck together by some sort of resin-based glue that smells of pine and contains flecks of gray powder that glint and sparkle in a magical way. You think that you'll need some skill in construction, level 5, and the standard construction tools to repair the machine. So we got the wood, we need a resin-based glue that smells of pine, bucket of sap, with crystals of magical persuasion inside. Something sticky. Something magical. Something mudrune. Grind a mudrune. Ground mudrune. Place on the sap to get a magical glue. Start repairing the machine with all of our various bits. Fixed it. Seems to be working now. though it does appear to be locked. Unlock. Number. Crystals. Brimstone. Yep. See if he's found anything that would help us with this part. Can I do for you? I fixed the machine now. Well done. You're almost as good at fixing things as a gnome. Who would have thought? Though I still don't think it's actually activated. There appears to be some sort of a lock on the front. I think I know what the discs are for, though. There's a slot in the front that looks like it might fit a disc, and a number. So what do you think the number means? I'm not sure yet. Maybe I should put a disc in the slot and see what happens. That reminds me. I found those crystal discs I mentioned before. They're not quite the same as the one Hazelmere gave you. They look similar in size and weight. They also look like they might fit in the slots on both machines. Maybe I should try it out. I wonder if the different sizes and shapes mean anything. I've been thinking about that as well. I shall ponder it some more. I'll work it out. Well, that's the spirit. This is all good training for the mind. Various shapes. And then if we drop a bunch of those shapes and keep searching, talking to Brimstale some more. What are the discs? Can't work out what to do with these discs. Maybe all the discs have different values. You have to choose the right one in order for it to work. Interesting. How do I know how to work out which discs are worth what? I'm not sure. But there will be some logic somewhere. Maybe if you look around the workshop, you'll find some clues. I'll have a look. Oh, I've been reading through my drawers. I found a few more discs you might find useful. Thanks. I'm just gonna grab a whole bunch of discs. It's convenient. Give me some discs. Yeah, that should be fine. We'll also loot his pre-made chocolate Saturday. Tasty. Yeah, so let's get drunk before doing a logic puzzle here. Good choices. We got all these different shapes and all the different colors. The machine panel here has a whole chart here. From red to violet. Different amounts. So using the shapes and the colors here, you need to figure out how to make the things happen. This is 18. Shapes and colors. Various bits. We need something worth 18. 18, 3 times 6. Triangle has 3 sides. Indigo is the 6th color here, according to this chart. Insert. Coin. Select from here. Insert. Green. Unlock. And now this is unlocked. Operate this machine, and now we have 3 pieces. We got 18 again, so we need another indigo triangle. 11 with 2 sections, and 26 with 3. So we need various shapes in order to fit into this whole thing. And we don't have those shapes in particular, so we need to use the exchanger. Put a thing in here, and exchange it. Keep switching the exchangers, give you different things. We're looking for an indigo triangle from this one. I'll take that. That solves the 18. We need to put them all in at the same time, though. So if we just do this, insert here, that works. We still need 11 and 26. We can get various numbers here. Very many options, especially when you have 2 and 3 choices. For 11, we do something as easy as a 10 and a 1, because the circles are only worth individual points. We got an orange pentagon and a red circle. That would do it. Because 2 times 5, 1 times 1. And for 26, we get something like 20. Get a green pentagon, then 2 red squares, or red triangles. That should do. Need a red circle, a green pentagon, and another red triangle. Or just put in some of the bigger ones here. Break them down. Orange pentagon. Indigo pentagon. There's a green pentagon. Take that. That's our 20. Now we need... There's a few more pieces here. We need one more red triangle and a red circle. Break down some smaller ones so they have less options. Red circle. Yep. And put in the red square here. Okay, green circle. There's some options here. Cancel that. Put in one of these. Don't need multiple. Here we go. Many different options here. Let's get the job done. 18, 10, 11. Oh, we need a red triangle, not another circle. Alright, we need to go get a triangle now. We can try getting something else. That's fine. Need a red triangle. There you go. Getting more of the discs to start with definitely gives you more options. Breaking them all down, getting more stuff. 10, 11, 20, 3, 6, open. And there you go. If you don't know how the puzzle works, it can definitely take a little bit of trial and error here. Huzzah! It's working! Very good. Anti-illusions. In progress. Well done, Hardcore Ultimate Ironman Artic. I knew you'd work it out. I will make a mage out of you yet. Wait, what's happening? Anti-illusion. Eek! What on earth? Izzy, no! There's something very wrong going on here. It's an evil creature. Ooh. That's not good. That's not what you want. Evil creature. Concerning. In a lot of ways. Well, I'm not sure what I can do for you. You've got the machine working now. What do I need to do now? Well, it seems Izzy was not so cute after all. How awful. How mysterious. So this was the illusion the Aposandrons went to so much effort to conceal? A pet that wasn't cute enough. Where'd you find this one? Izzy just wandered into my cave. He was cute and friendly, so I kept him. He seemed very curious, and used to watch me do my research. I like the companionship. Research is lonely work. So he's been keeping an eye on you while you do important magical research. I suppose it has. I hadn't thought of it like that. I'm sure I've seen others of these creatures around the place. Where? I think King Narnode has one. I think I saw one by the gates. I'm sure I've seen a few more wandering around. In other words, all the places to keep an eye on what's going on in the stronghold. Oh my goodness. I think I'm beginning to understand where you're going with this. Yes, they must be spies. They are watching us with those creepy red eyes. They must have told someone that we're working on the machine. So that horrible thing was listening to us all along. You better tell the king what's going on. Oh boy. Spies. In the stronghold. Not what you want. Not what you want. Very not good. And he said they're just all over the place too. Well, that's not great. As if only spying on the important magical research and the king wasn't already bad enough. Not ideal. We'll go tell the king about this latest issue he's having. Yeah, there's another one. Just right here. Oh boy. Oh boy. And there's another one. Hey, King Narnode. I went up a ladder instead of talking to you. Go back down. Hey, King Narnode. How's it going? Good day, sire. I take it you've noticed the cute creature you had in here is looking rather different now. Why, yes. How Do you know what's going on? I think I do. It's a long story, but the short version is this. The Arposandran gnomes have been planting these creatures as spies to watch what's going on in the stronghold. What? That's outrageous. I have just reactivated a machine that was built by Oaknock that dispels illusions, and now these creatures' true forms are revealed. Galofri? Now we know what he's been up to all these years. Never trust a mage. Well, I wouldn't go as far as that. It's only through Brimstale's and my researches that we have established what's going on. Well, all these creatures must be removed. We cannot allow the Aposandrans to spy on us anymore. How many of these things are there? I don't know, sir. Sire. Well, find them all and dispatch them, now. Right on it. Evil creature. What is that thing? Kill it. It's only got 1 health. You've killed 1 spine creature so far. Maybe there are more. Can confirm, there are definitely more. We've already seen a few. Any evil creatures up here? Yeah. Spying on anybody coming through the gnome gliders. Anybody that might be in prison. Spy on any interrogations that happen. Another good thing to get information on. Just right outside the entrance to the grand tree here itself. The comings and goings of anybody to the area. More good information to have. Right here at the spirit tree, a popular in and out transportation, more coming and going information. Just knowing the movements of everyone in the grand tree here. Similar idea for the one down here near the gate. Again, see who's coming and going. 5 killed. More to go. Well, there's one with Brimstale. Definitely want to get rid of that one. We can continue magical research without being spied upon. It's not great. It's not great. Into the cave. And the evil creature is gone. What can I do for you? Told King Nar about the evil creatures. You found all those nasty little creatures yet, young lad? Not yet. Shifty little beasts, you know, hiding everywhere. One here gone. Sure seems like it. Seems like Brimstale's already gotten ahead of us and killed it for us. Brilliant. Fantastic. Let's keep looking around here. Over at the Terrorbirds. Doesn't look like it. Terrorbirds. Not important enough to spy on. Can confirm. That's okay. Are they spying on the gnome ball matches? Get the inside scoop? Probably not. But another spot of military value is up here at the giant tortoise pen. Tortoises. Keep an eye on how many tortoises are available for the military. Get rid of you. You've killed all the creatures now. You better tell the king. Or so we think. Or so we think. We've killed plenty. Looked around. Brimstale also got one, so that will do nicely. Back to the king. Right in the tree door. King Narnode. Have you found all those spies yet? I think so. There were 6 in total. Thank goodness. Thank you for your help. Brimstale also tells me you helped him a lot, finding out what was going on. Help? I did all the hard work. Getting others to do the donkey work seems to be a skill that mages develop well. So, what will you do now? Well, I have many things to think about. Why are the Aposandrans spying on us, and what are they planning? It's certainly worrying. And whoever sabotaged the machine couldn't have been far from here. Are there gnomes who are also spies? Indeed, that's another thing that worries me. If you find out more, I'll be willing to help investigate. That may be useful. Thank you. I may well call for your help again. Oh, before you leave, I have something you might like. What's that? It was passed down to me from king to king. It belonged to Oaknock. He proclaimed that only a hero of the gnomes should have it. I think you count as a hero. Also, since you have been looking to Oaknock, you might be able to work out what it is. King Narnode gives you a small crystal seed. I wonder what it does. Well, I'm sure that your magical research skills will help you there. Good luck. Quest complete. 2 quest points. 12,000 magic XP, 2,500 woodcutting XP, 6,000 runecrafting XP, 250 construction XP, the mysterious crystal seed, and crystal singing bowls. Okay. No levels from that. That's alright. Nice chunk of runecrafting XP, though. Almost halfway to 52. Runecrafting is going to be a process in the future, that's for sure. Drop some stuff we don't need. Like that. And go use the small crystal seed over here with the magical crystal singing bowl. Combine the things that Oaknock had down here in his lab here into the cave once again. This time with no evil creatures spying on us, which is great. More exchanging in the future. But now, we also have a crystal bridge here. A bridge has magically appeared. I will walk across this magical bridge. Inspect the singing bowl. It's calling home. Sing glass. Makes a high-pitched elven crystal song, making the crystal saw. This is a very useful bit of technology here. It's like a regular saw, except it's crystal. And does have some benefits. It's got only 28 charges before it will wear out. We need to sing it again. But it's used to get a +3 invisible construction boost. So with that, you can make things, well, at least things that require a saw, 3 levels higher than your current level. And this also stacks with visible boosts. So, say we got a spicy stew with all the cat stuff that requires. That could get us a +5 boost. Then we bring out the saw, we can get a +3 on top, for a total of +8. So you can really make some higher level furniture at a lower level, which is great because of how expensive it is to train construction. There's going to be many uses for not getting 3 entire levels in the future. Definitely planned around having such a feature. Really nice. Currently not really making anything super high level. We're going to be there pretty soon though. And we can continue to train the construction at least a bit more here. We still got a little bit of money. Eventually it is going to run out though. We'll see how much more of a dent we can make in our cash stack. Training higher and higher levels of construction. More XP per level means more money per level. Ain't that just how it is? Next time, goodbye.